Alright, the Reds, it's Talking Reds live from Liverpool with me, Gareth Roberts, him, Josh Sexton. And the big news today is a bit more on Mo's contract. Obviously, this situation has been running for some time now. He did an interview a while ago, Josh, where he was like, Barcelona or Real Madrid? Maybe, yes, one day. And it was like, oh, fuck off. And then obviously his agent throwing out weird tweets at the weekend and stuff like that. I've got to be honest, I was counting down the hours until someone from Liverpool, a source unnamed, said, nah, it's all sound, and here we are. He hasn't signed one, but it's basically saying like Liverpool are comfortable with the situation. They're going to make him the highest paid player in the history of Liverpool Football Club. I'm sure everyone's absolutely fine with that idea because he's literally one of the best players to ever play for the club, isn't he?
It's mad, isn't it? Like I remember just sort of watching him at the weekend against Norwich, and like I think particularly when players go away on like summer break and pre-season and stuff, you don't sort of realise like what you don't sort of realise what you were missing if you get what I mean. Then you go into the new season and then it becomes in sort of stark contrast again. He was just absolutely unreal against Norwich and always has been. There's this sort of idea with Mo Salah that he doesn't take all of his chances and things like that, which are sort of strange really, because if he did, he'd be scoring 60 or 70 goals a season and we'd be winning the league by 1 million points. So I mean we might well do that anyway, given what happened the season before when we had a healthy squad. So sort of fingers crossed everybody does stay healthy this season, and Mo Salah's going to be a huge part of that. And that's another thing is he sort of always stays healthy as well. It goes back to that sort of Suarez thing, I think, where Suarez, if he wasn't biting people and things like that, he would always be available. Yeah. And Mo's the same man as the biting people.
Yeah, absolutely. The piece from I think it's from James Pearce in The Athletic. I haven't wrote that down, but it normally is, isn't it? It's normally the Pearcey fella. It's basically saying, obviously, Alexander-Arnold, Fabinho, Alisson and Virgil van Dijk have all signed lucrative extensions in recent weeks. Van Dijk is rumoured to be on about £220,000 a week now, and Mo will probably eclipse that. There is some stuff elsewhere. I don't think this was in The Athletic, but it was saying that, he will be looking at the wage that Grealish has got at Man City and all this, and I was like, well, that's Man City though. Do you know what I mean? Like, will he really? I mean, okay, he's not going to be what he's not going to be a million miles off. If Van Dijk's on 220 and Grealish is on 300, Mo's probably going to end up somewhere in the middle, isn't he?
Yeah, I think you've rightly treated that with the sort of disdain that it needs to be treated with. It's like saying that Andy Robertson would look at Benjamin Mendy's contract and wonder whether he should be getting paid more. He'll know he's a better footballer than Benjamin Mendy, and he'll know that Man City's wage model is completely different to Liverpool's. So I don't think there's even a comparison there. But look, Mo has every right to demand the sort of highest earners wage at Liverpool, like you say, because he is one of the best Liverpool players of all time, and he's so important to this squad. And it's not to say those other lads aren't important, and I don't think they would take it that way either. I don't think this is a squad, obviously all of them want to be paid well and want to be sort of, rewarded for their efforts for Liverpool, but I don't think that's really the be all and end all for them. I think actually the be all and end all is winning trophies, being loved by the manager, being managed by somebody like Jurgen Klopp, and I think this summer's been a sort of statement of that intent. I remember saying on a few of our sort of subscriber shows over the summer where we're talking about people's contracts and stuff, because obviously there was a bit of a concern about the amount of lads whose contracts are up in 2023, and I was like, I genuinely just think the Reds are going to box it. I think COVID's probably played a part in all of it being delayed. I think they'd probably scatter them across the last couple of summers if COVID wasn't a factor, but it was, and clubs had to deal with that and had to sort of adapt, and I think that was Liverpool's way of adapting, is to this summer just bunch all the contracts up together. They know where they're at now with the balance sheets, and that's what you've seen, and they've gone and got the business done.
Yeah, I think it's interesting as well. I mean, I just want to stay with Mo actually first of all before I make this other point, but Mo, I'm sure you all know, but it's always nice to go over again just how good he is. I liked in the piece, by the way, it was talking about how they've all been impressed behind the scenes about how he's returned to, this summer. He's looked super sharp, super fit, but also his attitude's being spot on. He's apparently big mates with Simicast now. He's taken Harvey Elliott under his wing a little bit and been talking to him about like nutrition and how to look after yourself and all that. And if you're going to listen to Mo on that, aren't you? So all of that just sounds dead positive. It doesn't sound like a fella who's looking to move on and go elsewhere. And there's even some stuff in there about, in Egypt, and they are of course, very tuned into what Mo's about, what he wants and where he might go. And apparently there's no noise that end either about him wanting to leave. It's like he's happy at Liverpool. If Liverpool give him the money that he wants, he'll stay. And like we said, you know, he's now 12th on the club's all-time list of goal scorers. And not only that, the rate at which he's scoring those goals is higher than everyone on there, which is unbelievable because, you know, at first, if that was sort of a few seasons ago, you'd say, well, he needs to get more games under his belt before you start talking about stuff like that. But it's 204 games for Liverpool, 126 goals, 45 assists. And yeah, he's he's scoring a rate of a goal every 133 minutes. So, you know, Rush 164 minutes, Fowler 153. Who else have we got? Michael Owen 148. Billy Liddell 141. So, you know, he's right up there with all these legends. And if he gets this, he's another one as well where, like, there's Lewandowski chat today about he's saying he wants a move and a new challenge. I'm not going to link Liverpool with him for a second. That's not happening. But he's 32, 33, I think now. And I think some people might look at it and say, well, if Bayern wants 100 million for him, that's ridiculous. I think we've got to start shifting now. Like, once upon a time, you'd say, 32, 33, you're finished. But the footballers, or some of them anyway, look after themselves so well now. Mo being one of them. You can see them playing to 34, 35, 36 even, you know, like Ronaldo is now. Yeah,
I've seen a stat kicking around at the weekend about Milner, which I know is a sort of different conversation, but, you know, at 35 years old, he was covering the most distance on the pitch again against Norwich at sort of nearly 13 kilometres, something, you know, ridiculous like that. It's you're right to sort of say that, and Salah is one of those who really embodies that for me. He's just the absolute consummate professional, and like, it's funny because you see his like Instagram and social media game in general over the summer, and he looks like he's enjoying himself so much. It's almost embarrassing for us like normal people who say like, oh, I'm not on a diet because I'm just enjoying my life kind of thing. Well, Mo's doing both. Yeah. Mo's staying with like 1% body fat and these ridiculous like abs and things, and then still, you know, lying on a hammock in some white sand beach location. So look, he's one of those players that I'd love to see play for Liverpool for however many years, but he's ambitious as well, is the other thing, and I do believe that at some point he'll want to go experience something else in his career. I think he'll always love Liverpool and he'll be loved by Liverpool. I think, you know, whatever this contract ends up being, it could be that, you know, when it gets towards the end of that, he ends up moving on to like a PSG or somewhere where you can, you know, further brand Salah a little bit more, because I know that's important to him. And I think, you know, that shows in his agent. It's quite a funny sort of juxtaposition. I think you get this a lot with footballers and their agents, is that the footballer seems so sound and the agent seems like such a bell, and it's almost like he has to do the bell work for Mo, because Mo would almost be too nice, you think, in terms of negotiations and stuff. The agent sort of has to be a bit, you know, extra over that side, you know, and he's tweeting after the Norwich game saying like, I hope they're watching, and all this kind of like
unnecessary,
like cryptic shit that he's doing. He just seems like a whopper. So if Mo could jib him, then hopefully we could have Mo for the rest of his career, but yeah, I don't expect that to be the case.
I think what's interesting, and the point I was going to just make before and sort of stop myself as well, is that there are players now who are extending their contracts beyond the managers.
Yep.
And I think that's really interesting and important, because, you know, we don't like to think about that. We're living in the now, if you like, and all the rest of it, and thinking about Burnley on Saturday and this season and all that kind of stuff. But obviously behind the scenes at Liverpool, they have got to think about, you know, life beyond Jurgen Klopp. And I don't think for a second that, you know, there hasn't been a conversation about that with these players. So when Alisson signed to 2027, Klopp's till 2024. So, you know, Fabinho 2026, Kanate 2026, Elliott 2026, you know, Van Dijk 2025, Alexander-Arnold 2025, Jota 2025. There's a load of them on deals further than the managers now. So when they're sitting down with them, they're going to say, well, what's the plan? Where do we go and what's happening? And the fact that getting on board and signing contracts of that length is really, really positive, because there's a thing, isn't there, where, you know, a manager goes and Everton falls down around it. Look at Man United. Long may that continue. And we don't want that, and there's got to be the sort of succession planning, if you like, and this feels like part of that.
Yeah, and it's interesting really, because I think Klopp's always been of that mindset that, you know, the next iteration of this Liverpool side, he wants to have had some kind of, you know, footprint in building the foundation. I think you saw that with his contract, because I think, you know, a load of expected Klopp to be one of the lads who sort of retires early, one of the managers who retires early and, you know, goes and enjoys the rest of his life at some point. I think he's even hinted at that in the past, that he won't be managing well into his 70s, when sort of referenced alongside people like Roy Hodgson and stuff. I think he'll want to pack it in before he gets to that sort of age, and he'll want to go on holiday with his family and sort of enjoy that sort of time, because he he loves that side of things, and I think there's probably an extent to which he wants the Germany job as well, so he'd be looking at that sort of in his long term. But you're right to say that. I think that the players, as much as the manager there are wanting their footprint to be on the next iteration of this side. I don't think they all expect to be at the club until the end of those contracts, apart from, the lads like Jota, who sort of fit the age profile of being at Liverpool for the next 10 years. But I think you'll see them now as much as ever sort of wanting to have that impact on the next generation. I think you see that in the way they all behave as well. The idea that Mo has been, putting his arm around Harvey Elliott and giving him advice. I think Trent was talking about, I can't remember the two lads who he pointed out. I think one of them was Cade Gordon, and it might have been Harvey Elliott, the other one. Talk about having an impact on them. All these senior lads want to sort of get around the young lads now, and if they are the next generation of Liverpool, then they're going to have the right kind of imprint, because they're going to have the imprint of one of the most successful Liverpool sides of all time. Yeah,
it's good that, because it's a bit of a change to what we traditionally heard about what it was like behind the scenes for a kick. So you'd have to go in and prove yourself, and senior players have been
like the YTS's scrubbing boots and stuff like that. It's not
shite. It's not the best atmosphere, is it? It's a bit of a sort of bullying, toxic masculinity type culture. And time's moved on, so yeah, I think stories like that are good. The other thing with Klopp maybe as well is maybe all these players are signing because he's going to sign an extension.
Do you know what I honestly thought when we were talking about that? I was like, there's probably an extent to which Klopp's not really, he's definitely not ready to let go now. I wouldn't think. I think, if you asked him last season,
he wants to win the league in front of fans.
Exactly,
I think for an absolute certainty, because you look at what he was like in Dortmund when he's on the top of the bus there, and he's absolutely fucking loving it, and he was denied that here, and I think he wants that, and if he gets that, then maybe he does say, okay, I'm going to go out on a high. But then maybe he gets in once more. I don't know. There's loads of scenarios, isn't there? And we don't know. But all of them right now feel fairly positive. I mean, there's wage bill chat. I don't want to go too much into this, because some of the accountancy stuff just makes me glaze over, I've got to be honest. But there's stuff there saying that Liverpool's wage bills climbed from 310 to 325 million, second only to Man City. Shot up nearly 24% in the space of 2 years, largely down to bonuses linked to the club's on-field success. Now that to me is a fair investment in what's going on behind the scenes, yet there are still cry-arsing, and it's like, lad, it's the first home game in 18 months on Saturday. We support a great side, one of the best sides and one of the best squads I've ever seen in my life. Why are you cry-arsing? Why are you saying there's something in these accounts that I need to discover or whatever? Fuck off. And if that makes me a top red, sound, I'll be a top red. I'm enjoying myself. Anyway, there's a bit that's got to go in the middle, I've just remembered. So the bit that's got to go in the middle, where's the sheet for it?
It's Tom Cassidy, isn't it, talking about the tour?
There you go.
Little insight from John Gibbons from the Anfield Wrap, and with Tom Cassidy, who's in charge of tourism at LFC. Just to talk about quite a few exciting things you've got coming up over the next month, Tom. First of all, the Legends tours are back. You've got some really exciting opportunities for people to meet the legends at Anfield and get shown around the amazing stadium.
Yeah, I mean, after over a year off with getting the legends on site, they're back. So when we do a stadium tour, you can bolt on a legends Q&A before. You kind of spend 60, 90 minutes with the legends, get a chance to hear the stories, ask a few questions. It goes down really well.
Yeah, I'm sure. Just some of these legends who are involved. So 22nd of August, we've got Phil Thompson. 25th, you've got Steve McMahon. 26th, Phil Neal. 29th of August, Alan Kennedy. 4th of September, Ian Callaghan. And 11th of September, Ian Callaghan again. I think we worked out before about 6,000 Liverpool appearances, 20 league titles, so many European Cups. There's some great stories and some great people there.
And maybe 6,000 stories between them all as well. But yeah, no, really good. They've been really successful, and I think since the start of August, Legends tours have been back, and and they've gone down really well. So I mean, we're happy, the Legends are happy, and the fans are happy as well.
Yeah, the tours are brilliant. If you haven't been on one yet, I would strongly encourage you to do so. Obviously, with an addition of a legend there, it's even more special. But we did a little video on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to sort of find that really where I talk about my favourite things, part of the tour. Also worth highlighting at the moment is if you are a Liverpool resident, Liverpool City region resident, you get 25% off at the moment. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we introduced a promotion just as we come out of lockdown. You might say it's a small gesture, but we thought it was a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Not everyone's had a great, kind of period in lockdown, and coming out of it, things can be tight. So yeah, that's it on the on the standard stadium tour, that's it. It's a simple 25% off.
Yeah, so 25% off if you are a local resident, or if not, and you come into the city, then Legends Tour is absolutely brilliant. So if you want a one-off from there, there's an Anfield experience as well, which is pretty special as well. On the 3rd of September, Chris Kirkland and Phil Thompson. 5th of September, Jan Moby and Steve McMahon. 3-course meal with those guys overlooking the pitch. Can't be bad. For all of that, and I realise I've said it very quickly, if you just go to liverpoolfc.com/tours, that's liverpoolfc.com/tours, you get all the dates for the Legends Tours, the Anfield experience, and just any information you want about a boss day out. But Tom, I'm sure you'd love to welcome all our visitors down.
Yeah, look forward to seeing you guys. Thanks, Tom.
Cheers.
Are we back in the room? I believe we're back in the room. There you go. So nice one there. So yeah, back to us, back to our chat. I think we'll do a bit on Burnley, but I don't want to go too much into it because we have, of course, got a preview show which we're recording this afternoon, myself and Paul Coe, and we'll go into detail about Saturday's match. But just generally, I mean, you know, I said before, 18 months or thereabouts since we were last in the ground properly with a full house. Burnley as well, feels like we you know, we owe them one, fair to say. You know, obviously they ended the 68 match unbeaten run. Also the season we won the league, when we won 18 out of 19 at home, they were the side that stopped us, you know, having the perfect clean sweep. Also as well, beyond Burnley and revenge type of thing, I always bang on about, and have done for years, that any title challenge or indeed any successful seasons, full stop, is built upon what you do at home. Like, you know, the whole, I know it's a cliche, but the whole fortress Anfield and all that is absolutely spot on. And I think, you know, we need to get in there, make it loud, be proud, get behind the players, you know, get stuck into the referee, give Burnley fans loads, and, you know, make it a lovely bear pit again.
Yeah, I think Burnley will make it horrible, won't they? They always do, and I think they particularly enjoy coming to Anfield and sort of spoiling the party, and as you mentioned there, they've done that the past few seasons. I think it's going to be electric at first. I think there's going to be a bit of an onus on the players because it's still a 12:30 kickoff, and it's always a bit harder to get up for a 12:30 kickoff, but I actually think the energy will come from us first because we'll always be so excited to be back in the ground. I think people will get in early, the flags up, all that kind of thing, and get the songs going, but then it's going to be...
You'll see people you haven't seen for 18 months,
but then it's going to be on the players to carry that momentum, like getting an early goal, that kind of thing, somebody getting stuck in early and sort of showing Burnley, you know, what we are about, and raising that crowd, because I think that's the thing that happens too often, and it's the thing that Anfield gets a fair bit of criticism for, I think, is that, you know, we go in with all this energy and then after half an hour or so it's flat, but it's usually flat because, you know, there's been not really much to sort of go off, or maybe it's been a procession in the sort of other sense. So I think the lads need to just sort of, you know, bear that in mind coming back in, particularly because it has been so long. It's been so long for them since Anfield had a full house, and I know how much they all enjoyed Crystal Palace. I was at the Crystal Palace game and it was just like absolute goosebumps when they came out for training again, and I imagine this is going to be like that times a million because it's a full house again, the full hit, and there'll be some lads there who've never sort of experienced that, so I'm excited for them in terms of, you know, supporters and the players as well.
$2.90 a pint as well?
$2.90 a pint, yeah. It feels dangerous, to be honest. I think we have a joke at Anfield, don't we, about the four pint minimum before you get into the ground. So if we're doing that before we get into the ground, and then a pint inside the ground's $2.90, it could be a long old Saturday. I'd say that I'd probably be in bed by about 9 p.m. if you start drinking for 4 pints before 12:30.
Yeah, there is of course a new ticketing system, and I went down there the other day and spoke to Phil Dutton, and also the stadium, who's in charge of ticketing, and also the stadium's operations manager. And we put out a free show about that, if you want to have a listen to that, because basically they're talking about what you need to do as a fan, what they're trying to do as a club, and hopefully it's all going to work on the day. There's still people like asking lots of questions. I see it all the time online about, like, you know, what if my phone runs out of battery, or all of this kind of stuff. Well, they do seem to have tried to think of as much as they can, to be honest with you. I think there's loads of people saying, I'll just scrap it and go back to what they had before. They're not going to do that, obviously. Tottenham have got the same system, got 60,000 in for their match. My personal experience of it is it works. You know, I've had no beef with it. I've obviously been involved in a queue in one of those friendlies, and, you know, the friendly was there kicking off late and all that kind of stuff. But I just think, you know, on this, we've just got to try and play ball. There's lots of, like, you know, there's people who are very entrenched in everything the club does is wrong, and I'm going to get stuck into the club no matter what. And I think, having attended that briefing and spoken to people and all that the other day, I think they're doing everything they can do. And, you know, why not try and play ball a little bit on it? Why not try and get there in there a little bit early? And also, if it is $2.90 a pint, like I seen, it's $2.90 a pint. Like, I've been one for ages who's been saying, you can't expect us to get in there any earlier if you're asking me for nearly £6 for a pint of Guinness. And now it's gone down to $2.90, and I'm like, all right, I'll go in early and have a $2.90 pint. But I've seen people going, well, what about the local pubs? And it's like, the club can't win here then, can they? If you're saying it's too dear and then they bring it down and it's too cheap, and what about the local pubs? What is it you want them to do? They've clarified on that, by the way, that this will only be a temporary thing, unfortunately, because they do just want to get us in there early. They want it to work. They can't realistically delay the kick-off this time around because it's on the telly. I think they get fined if it doesn't kick off at the time it should do. So fingers crossed all that works, do you know what I mean? And they've put videos out there, I think they're emailing everyone and stuff like that. Do you think the club are doing enough there? I
think so, yeah. Like, there's going to be always people who are resistant to change, aren't they? And this is, you know, make no mistake about it, it's a huge change. I think paper tickets have been tradition for, you know, as long as anybody has been around, as long as Liverpool Football Club has been around. You know, I've got boxes and ours of like all my paper tickets from things down the years. But even then, you know, if you're on season tickets, if you're on memberships, you've been using a card for a few years anyway. It's almost like the next sort of step in the evolution of that. And like you say, the club can't control people's behaviour in a sense. So look, if you're worried about your local, go to your local before the game. If you're worried about your phone being out of battery, come to Anfield with your phone charge, buy a portable charger, and make sure you've got that on you.
On that, they are turning what was the bar like under the Kop. That's not going to be a bar for this. It's going to be a place to go and get help if there's any problems, including you can go and charge your phone. And I said directly to Phil Dutton, I said, you know, there's always going to be someone who's like, you know, they've dropped the phone down the grid on match day or something like that. And he said, yeah. He said, we're prepared. We've got more staff on, more stewards. We've got this special help centre, the Kop bar thing. And he said, you know, if that happens to you, we'll get you in. So, you know, there you go. So I do think they're doing everything they can do, and fingers crossed it goes all right. Let's get some comments, because it is a live Talking Red, so it's always nice to see what you're saying in the comments. Lots of people having a pop at each other and having a big debate. Well, I'll leave you to that. But people going back to Mo Salah, people talking about that, saying give him what he wants, he deserves it, and that type of stuff. Someone asks, putting pepper on beans, yes or no?
Not against it at all. Adds a bit of flavour, doesn't it?
Yeah, do a bit of that then. Someone is going to put the kettle on. Go ahead, what tea bags, lad? Mo is worth whatever we
They were sound, by
afford.
the way, the Thompsons.
Thompsons, yeah. We tried Thompsons today, which I picked up when I was in Belfast, and they're all right, strong fellas, decent. Not quite the level of Barry's, but, you know, not bad. Any Thompsons sponsoring the Anfield Wrap chat? I'll have some tea.
It's not like you haven't tried a Barry's over the years, is it?
Tried everything. Someone sent me a message the other day saying, post-match pint. I love that show, it's really good, you know, it was really complimentary and it was nice. And they were like, have you ever thought of, like, you know, a beer company could, like, sponsor that? I was like, yeah.
Yeah, we have,
but, you know, none forthcoming so far. What else have we got? People going on about the money around Mo and that kind of stuff. Klopp will sign an extension. Says Eamon Shah there. He's convinced he's going to stay. He said, I'd say he'll extend at least 3 to 6 years and retire from club football at 60 to 63, which sounds right. There you go. That'd be all right. I mean, Klopp can stay forever as far as I'm concerned. I'm just not sure he will. Like what Josh said, I think he quite fancies going on the beach with a little mini umbrella stuck on his head and a cocktail. Cry arses will always be cry arses, someone says there. Someone sent us $5 New Zealand. Andrew Kerr. Go ahead, lad.
Nice
that's nice of you, mate. Is that for the Robbo Beer Fund, $2.90? Confirm or deny?
It's not going to Robbo's pocket, don't worry.
Yeah, definitely isn't. What else have we got? Where's the war chest? Yeah, there's a couple of complaints about us sort of not spending, not splashing the cash in the window and that kind of stuff. Are you still concerned about that, Josh? Because, you know, if you watch Sky Sports, obviously every day you get a little ticker there where they're all ticking down. They do the transfer show, they tell you what everyone else has done. The odds seem to be skewed, it seems. Bookmakers seem to be really, like, transfers are the answer to everything. I wouldn't mind 1 or 2 more, but I'm not fuming. I can't pretend to be fuming when I'm not.
Honestly, like I can't genuinely imagine anybody being unhappy with this squad. You know, the biggest issue we had going into this season was at centre half, and we've gone and signed a new centre half there now. So we've got 4 options. Virgil van Dijk's not a lad who was sort of frequently getting injuries throughout his career. He got one freak one because some keeper absolutely did him. So it's not like we're going into the season with a load of concerns around that kind of thing. I just don't understand it. Like I like signings. People like signings. People like seeing new lads on the pitch and pulling on Liverpool kits and walking up to the camera and doing little Scouse phrases and stuff like that. But I mean, it's not the be all and end all of football. And like I tweeted about this yesterday because it was sort of, I tend not to try and delve too deep into the darker realms of social media. But that was a thing that sort of passed even into my echo chamber the other day of people like cry arsing about Chelsea signing Lukaku. And I was like, you need to remember that we finished ahead of Chelsea last season with 2 centre halves who have never played a game for Liverpool's first team before last season. Sorry, we had 3 of our best centre halves injured, half our midfield injured for most of the season.
We've got Mane, we've got Jota.
Exactly. We're not. It's not exactly like we're not well stocked. I would like new signings, but if Liverpool don't sign anybody else before the transfer window closes, I'm absolutely happy with the squad still. I believe that Liverpool win the league title still. I don't believe that Chelsea signed Lukaku as a silver bullet to all their issues, because I believe their issues were more at centre half than they were up front. So if you want to believe Chelsea are the best team ever, sound, you do you, and if you're right, then you're right.
It doesn't
That's
always work.
Negative existence, isn't it?
It just doesn't always work, does it? You know what I mean? There's the idea that it's a guarantee to just spend money. Like, this isn't me, like, I don't give a fuck about John Henry or FSG, to be honest with you. Like, I've got no skin in the game with them. They're just people that own the club right now, and one day they'll move on, and I'll still support Liverpool either way. But I just think, like, I don't know why this come to mind, but while you were talking, I was thinking, remember when we signed Mark Gonzalez? And it was like, we all got dead excited about this Chilean winger who was dead fast and blah, 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 blah. Shite.
But you're right, by the way, like to use the Mendy and Robertson example again, I was watching Mendy the weekend and my mind was just completely blown by how bad he was at defending. He cost City like 50-60 million, and we've got Robertson there who we pretty much swapped for Kevin Stewart. Like, money doesn't guarantee success. Spending a lot on a player, while it's nice to see a new expensive sort of shiny thing, it's really not the be all and end all. It doesn't guarantee you success. So I think people just need to chill out and realise how good this team is. And if this team can stay healthy this season, touch wood, then I think the sky's the limit, to be honest.
Yeah, we've got your voice still sounds rough, Robbo. Get the fisherman's friends out.
Absolute nanga.
Old school, them are. Do they still exist? Fisherman's friends, great shout. Some love there for Barry's tea. Someone there says Yorkshire tea all day. They're staple. I mean, I think, at minimum, you should have Yorkshire tea. Then Barry's is a little tier above. If you've got fucking PG Tips or Tetley...
Yorkshire's the best English brew, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I think they've got them in our office finally now. Like, we share this building with a few different businesses, and for ages they definitely had, like, I think it was probably PG Tips.
I think it was Tetley, wasn't it? I seen a massive Tetley bag kicking around.
Fucking shit. Anyway, what else have we got? We'll go soon. Someone's saying something about we deserve more money here. I mean, I'll have more money. Robbo,
as in the Reds or us?
Robbo, you deserve $2.50. That was the fella who dropped the dough in. So $2.50 of the 5 is for my beer fund, he's saying that. Can you sort that out?
Speak to accounts, lads. See if you can box it.
Source, James Pearce, The Athletic has reference. Yeah, I've done that, mate, thank you. What else? Sefton Park Rangers. Curtis and Harvey will solve all the issues, in my opinion, as good as any lads out there. You're quite right, and I'm excited to see them, genuinely. Like, already we've seen flashes from Harvey, haven't we? I was gutted for Kurt that he got that injury and had to sit out because of the concussion rules and all that, but like, I think that there's, there should be more respect on his name for what he's already done. And then there should be excitement about what he can go on and do. And it's not just because he's Scouse and all this stuff. I got that back when I wrote a big piece on him the other day. I genuinely think he's got potential to be playing for Liverpool regularly in midfield. And that's not some downplaying of ambition or anything. He is that good.
Yeah, there's some like mad thing within there's another darker realm of social media which I don't get too into, but like you said about the top red thing before, there's like a darker realm of social media in particular where like there's just lads who support Liverpool and hate Scousers, and they're going on like top reds and using the word "la" loads of stuff like that, and like they hate Curtis Jones, probably used to hate Trent Alexander-Arnold before he became the best right back in the world as well. It's mad to me. Like, did you see the Nico Williams goal as well the other day, by the way? Absolutely unreal. You forget how good these lads are. Like, I watched loads of them at sort of like 23s and 18s level. Like, I've seen Nico come right up through from the 18s, and like it's so, like, I feel so proud for them, almost like in like a sort of family way. And I used to sit with their family at games loads and stuff, because that's the sort of people who tend to be at games, like pressing family. And it's just been so nice to sort of see those lads' journeys. Like, I don't want Nico Williams to leave, really. Like, if he wants to go and get first team football and the club can cash in on him for like 10 or 15 million, then sound. I think that's sort of suits all parties. But I mean, ideally, if he wants to stay at Liverpool, I'd like to see him stay at Liverpool and get his chance here and there.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Social media and Sky have made football all about transfers, and it's absolutely depressing. No offence, Rob Gutman. We got there. Also, Andy Man says, is no one taking into account Salah's age? We talked about that before, mate. I mean, footballers are just fitter and better, and Salah's definitely one of those. Look at him, he's in absolutely perfect nick, and no one can live with him, and he keeps putting in the numbers, and he's really resilient. I think he missed one league game last season? I think he's missed 7 league games in the whole time he's been at Liverpool. Like, he's unbelievably robust. Josh mentioned that before. So I think, you know, you're absolutely giving him a big contract, and you're absolutely signing him, you know, for the rest of his peak years. What else have we got? Virgil van Dijk and Alisson were shiny things. No one's complaining. I'm not really sure what your point is there, mate. I mean, we're not, like, what position are we absolutely crying out to go and pay?
I think he means like they cost a lot of money, don't they?
I'm
not saying if you spend a lot of money, it's not going to guarantee his success. I'm saying it doesn't guarantee his success.
Equally, what Klopp said the other day, though, what position right now are we absolutely crying out for to go and pay top whack?
There isn't one.
There isn't one, is there? Like, you want the squad to be a little bit, you know, better strength and depth, but, you know, I think it's difficult. I think age profile wise and all that, you'd want someone ideally, you know, 21, 22, who's already played in a top league. But then from their perspective, they're looking and they're going, well, in whatever position, they're in my way. I'm not getting to play regularly, blah, 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 blah. Other side of the coin, they get to work with Jurgen Klopp. I don't know, I just think it's not easy, and I think some of the cry-arson doesn't take into consideration that it's not easy. Anyway, I think we'll stop going on. We've gone on for ages there, haven't we? We have got loads of stuff coming out, previewing the Burnley game at the weekends. There'll be stuff on the website as well, the AnfieldWrap.com. The brilliant writing, as ever, that you can find on there. What else? We'll be doing everything around the game as usual, post-match. And if this is the first time you've ever watched anything of the Anfield Wrap and you like it, download the Anfield Wraps app on Android or Google, or Android or Apple, and get stuck in. It's free. You can watch our content, listen to our content, read our content on there. You get some free tokens. You can have a go at the premium stuff if you like it. Subscribe. Whew. That's been Talking Reds. Hope that adds.